Hey, I'm Brian Van, SportBikeTrackYour.com. Today we're going to talk about aftermarket clip-ons. What are they, and why would you need to install them on your sport bike? Okay, so we're going to use Max Van's Moto America Ninja 400 as an example right now. This bike already has aftermarket clip-ons installed on it, right? Why do we do that? Well, we do that for a number of different reasons, okay? One of the biggest reasons is going to be ease of repair, okay? You go to a track day, you go racing, sometimes you tip over, and one of the most common parts damaged with almost every fall is going to be a clip-on bar. If you have an OEM clip-on, and this is the OEM clip-on for the Ninja 400, it is a one-piece unit. So if this is damaged, either bent or snapped off, you then have to replace the entire assembly. With your aftermarket clip-ons, you're able to replace just the bar, okay? And this is obviously one that we had from a crash. This is a pretty good one. This was Nelson Ledges. Max got taken out in the kink. Rider on a bigger bike tried to go around the outside of him on his 600 and thought Max would be letting off the gas, and of course he didn't, and the guy ran into him and bent his clip-on bar right down to the ground, resulting in a nice crash. It was really easy to repair that because when you have clip-ons on the bike, where they're two pieces, you have a cuff that's one piece and a bar that is another piece, all I had to do, plus the other repairs of course, was to loosen up the mount for the bar. Let me grab this, just give you a good example here. All you have to do is loosen these fasteners up and off that bar comes, okay? So it makes the repair much, much easier. It's also important to point out every bike's a little bit different, okay? On the Ninja 400, your clip-ons are on top of the triple tree. The Yamaha R3 is the same way. Now you look at a bike like the Suzuki GSX-R 1000R over here, the OEM clip-ons for this bike will be under the top triple tree. When you have an OEM bar, if you've left the OEM bars on and you have it damaged and you now need to install clip-ons, you have to remove the top triple clamp to then remove the OEM clip-on cuff before you can install your aftermarket clip-ons. That's not something you want to do at the racetrack, okay? So if you're going to take your bike to the track, I highly recommend that you install a set of clip-ons on the bike before you ever head there. When it comes to clip-ons, there are several options available that can really change the ergonomics of your motorcycle. So more than just having the flexibility to quickly replace a bent or broken handlebar, right? You can also dial in the ergonomics of the bike to make it suit you best. It's very important to understand that there can be limitations when doing that, right? We have risers available up to 3 inches. When you go to install those, you have to know in advance that it's a little bit of a journey, right? Because you have to deal with clearance issues with the bodywork. You have to deal with throttle cable length, clutch cable length, length of the brake line itself, which means you may not be able to use the full rise. And even when it comes to clip-ons, like this Ninja 400, this is a great example, right? Here's a traditional no-rise clip-on from Vortex. Woodcraft has a product that's very similar to this as well, right? You could get these, and depending on your suspension setup here on your Ninja, you could run these on top of the triple, and it would be just a little bit lower, right? And then you'd have to see, am I going to have enough room with the bodywork? Is this going to be contacting the bodywork? Do you have to do any trimming, right? You could try to put these under the triple. It would really get them a lot lower. With this bike, you're for sure going to have interference issues. You're going to have to make some serious changes to go with the clip-on being underneath the triple with a standard no-rise setup. Another great example is going to be over here with the Suzuki GSX-R 1000R. I've got a couple of different clip-on options. The clip-ons we have on the bike right now, they're a pair of Vortex clip-ons. It's a 7-degree down angle, so it's the most common, right? and it replaced the OEM clip-ons that were also underneath the triple tree. It changes the reach to the bars a little bit. I believe these are a little further out, okay? And maybe just a little bit lower because there was naturally a little bit of rise. So there is a subtle change to the position, right? We've got a fair reach to the bars. Let's say that you're street riding this bike and all the pressure from being in this really athletic position, right? All the pressure is on your hands. Your hands get tired, maybe they fall asleep, and you want to try and get some of that pressure off. A great way to do that is going to be with a riser clip-on. Here's an example from Woodcraft. This is their highest available rise. This is a 3-inch rise. And to give you an idea of how different this would look as compared to the clip-on we have on there now, right, these bars are now well above the upper triple clamp. It's important to note, you could run into clearance issues, okay, with the bodywork. You could run into issues with a clutch cable where it's just simply not long enough to have you adjust the clutch perch to the normal position and still get a full sweep of the bars without it pulling tight. The same holds true for the throttle cable, for the wiring for the switch pods, and then of course your brake line, okay? When you go to do an install like a riser clip-on, trying to change the ergonomics of your motorcycle to better suit you, it's important you understand that's kind of a journey, right? You're going down a road where there's gonna be some give and take. You may have to, shorten up the reach a little bit by sliding the bars in to help, preserve that OEM clutch cable. You may have to push these down a little bit on the fork tubes because you can't have them up all the way or you're gonna have some clearance issues here with the bodywork. Woodcraft has done a fantastic job of developing fitment charts, okay? Most of the common models out there, you look and we have their fitment chart in all the Woodcraft clip-on listings. You open that up and let's say you have a GSX-R 1000R. Eric has developed a chart that's gonna make a recommendation to you on the ones that are going to best suit your bike with the least amount of modification and oftentimes very, very little, if any, modification, okay? If you're looking to do something outside of that, like risers, they have also developed a nice system for measuring to see how much clearance you do have available to help you choose the option that's gonna be most likely to fit your bike. They have risers, I believe, from 1 inch all the way up to 3 inches. You can use that document they have prepared to help you determine which one is going to best suit your purpose. And there are even options outside of this. Let's say that you are one of those riders and you're very sensitive to the reach to the clip-ons and you want them as high as possible. We have these kits, and I'm gonna have Caleb put a B-roll in here of an install that we did for our Wera and Moto America Track Chaplain Mark Miracle. We put a riser kit from LSL that gives you an actual handlebar, right, with a new top triple clamp that puts a traditional metal handlebar, right, on top of the top triple. It changes everything. I believe that one came with an extended clutch cable. These are complete kits that are meant to be ready to install on specific models, okay? You'll see in that video, if you want to go watch that independently, it takes a little bit of work to get these really dialed in. There's a little bit of give and take, but it totally transformed that bike and it put the bars in a position like you might see with, say, an FZ07 and an FZ09. It really changed it to make it much more comfortable on the street. Now let's kind of go back to racetrack riding in athletic positions. Let's say that you're shorter in stature and you've got a big bike like this 1000 and you've really got a lot of reach to the bars and you just don't love it. You just wish they were a little closer to you. Attack Performance makes a 0 offset pair, and I actually had these on this bike for quite a period of time. And what these do, let me just kind of loosen this up a little bit here if I can get this open and just to slide over. There we go. So using the same angle, look at the difference that makes, right? These are what that's got to be. It's well over an inch back, probably more like an inch and a half plus. So it really shortens up the reach to the bars quite a bit, and it changes the ergonomics of the motorcycle. So if you're shorter in stature, right, this can really make the bike more appropriate for you. We have a full video installing these because this is a really interesting install, a lot like a riser clip-on, right? Bringing this back changes everything, right? It changes where the clutch cable is going to ride, where the throttle cables are going to ride. You know, it's just an interesting journey that requires more effort than installing a set of clip-ons that, you know, Eric Wood from Woodcraft has basically already test fit on a GSX R1000R and knows those are going to fit with very low drama. Hopefully this video is helpful and sheds a little light on really what these are and the available options that are out there on the market. If you have a specific model and you have specific questions, leave those in the comments section. I answer all that stuff myself, and I'm always here to help you get the most out of your next performance mod.